Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffery Combs, president and founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, GMS Inc., a California corporation founded in 1998. Welcome to Facebook Live, everyone. It's my privilege and pleasure. This would be year number, let me factor this in, 1999. So 1999 to 2022. So that is 23 years of hosting a live Tuesday. First it was a call, and then it became a Facebook Live 4+ years ago. Welcome, everyone. It's my privilege and pleasure to be here with you on Tuesday afternoon. To say that life is challenging at this point in the world would be an understatement for most of the world. Being able to overcome, being able to address, being able to navigate what you see, what you feel, what you're witnessing, and what you're understanding in the world today. While either owning a business or owning a job, navigating in this world. So this is a time where it really requires this word, G-R-I-T. Do you have it? Do you have the grit? Do you have the resolve? Do you have the wherewithal? Do you have the resources? Do you have the guts? Do you have the courage? Do you have the intestinal fortitude to stand the gaff of the tyranny which you're witnessing and then be able to adapt and adjust? And if you have an existing business, are you able to create the commerce? Or if you have a part-time business you're attempting to transition into business ownership, reach out to John McFadden or myself and we'll tell you what it's like to be in the big leagues. Or Krista Best. Krista is a business owner who lives in Tennessee, who understands the grit it takes. I have a lot of respect for John McFadden. John, good to see you this afternoon. John is in the real estate industry. He's a plumber, top-tier plumber in the city of Chicago. And if you require a plumber, reach out to him. But he and I have many conversations on the courage, the intestinal fortitude, the grit that it requires to be in business, to be able to attract employees who you can count on, to be able to attract teammates who can produce, to be able to attract to your reality people and situations that you can create commerce with, transactions, money, to be able to attract clients and customers who pay you. I mean, my desk over here, right over here is, I'm going to hire you on Friday. I'm going to hire you after the first of the holidays. I'm going to get paid on Friday. I mean, this is what many people do, is they over-obligate themselves. They don't understand that that's pathological lying. If you're a business owner in free enterprise, it's important that you are skilled at not only servicing your clients, but being able to attract the clients, being able to close the transactions, collect the money that is yours. Listen to people's lies, fibs, tall tales, and pathological situations that go on while being and staying in raising your collective consciousness. And instead of edifying, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed, it's our responsibility to understand people's predictability. And when you learn the let go process, when you learn how to separate your feelings from the events that shape them. I just had an order come in from a company I auto ship products, and it wasn't in the normal box, and it was in a plastic bag, and it had household products in it, and a couple of the products were broken, and it was I'll just use the word, it was a lot of fuckery. That's what it was. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to spend 10 minutes of my time cleaning this up. Now that was a breathe and release situation. And how many of you have done that? You order something, you pay a quality price for it, and then you get an inferior situation that you were left to clean the mess up of it. Now we have to call customer service and blah, blah, blah in those situations. And that is a breathe, a release, and a let go. Because the ego wants to be right. The ego wants a refund. The ego wants justification. The ego wants retribution. So that's what breathing and releasing, letting go is, and raising your consciousness. This book right here is absolutely a game-changing book, Transcending Levels of Consciousness. Go directly to this page right here. Skip reading the book and go right here. The Physiology of Truth. This chapter right here, I'm going to cover this chapter in a seminar this weekend called Millionaire Blueprint. Josh Moran is going to be one of the speakers. He just came online. Right here, Josh. You're going to be there with me, baby. Josh is going to be teaching Wim Hof breathing. Josh is going to be discussing the values of ice bathing. Josh does a retreat in Minnesota this summer. I highly recommend those men who are on the Facebook Live this afternoon, you contact Josh. He's top tier. He does a men's retreat. It's really a sobriety recovery retreat, no mind-altering substances. It's absolutely in God's country. Josh, look at this right here. You understand this. So this is it right here, the Physiology of Truth. Josh and I are speaking at an event in Stockton, California, and both he and I will be covering some of this content. The prefrontal cortex of the brain, that is discernment. That's the discernment means being able to decide and commit. And then in the hippocampus is the component of the brain that is memory. And when you've been traumatized, abused, sexually abused, physically abused, criticized, gaslighted, ghosted, any of these situations over a long period of time, that's what creates brain fog. And in brain fog, we have challenges remembering and challenges deciding. And that's what procrastination, that's what being overwhelmed is, that's what avoidance is, and that's what many people hold on to. And then the medical community likes to say you have ADD, attention deficit disorder, PTSD, you have this, and let's get you medicated. Let's get you standing in line for the blue pill and the red pill. And that's what happens to a lot of people. And then coming off that type of medication is a whole nother challenge. And so that dumbs down the consciousness. Consciousness is activated by sobriety. And being emotionally sober allows you to access the quantum field. But when you are eating toxic food, now that practically everything we consume has a level of toxicity in it, but do your best to do detoxing, cleansing, cell rejuicing. Right up there on my shelf, I have a book by Medical Medium. I just bought it last week on the value of cell rejuicing, and I've been doing that for a few years, but I also want to read his book and really next level that. Corey, Don, and Jerome, good to see you this afternoon. The topic is raising your collective consciousness in the most challenging times in world history. As freedoms are being taken away from us, more and more fear tactics and scare tactics are being used to dumb you down, to keep you in anxiety, fear, and doubt. It's going to be your responsibility to do your best to raise your level of consciousness, to let go of your anxiety about the outcome that hasn't happened, to be and stay in a relaxed body, to create commerce, transactions, to create camaraderie, connections, business, clients. And if you're in a job that doesn't serve you, either find a better job, start a part-time business, start a full-time business, but and I highly recommend this, find ways to be self-employed if possible. Create a business from the comfort of your home. If possible, you can create a lot less anxiety if you're able to monetize that from your home. However, that's going to require you to be self-employed from the comfort of your home. Or if you do have a job, do your best to get a raise. Do your best to stay out of conflict. Do your best to stay focused on the task at hand. Do your best to let go of the outcome that hasn't happened. Practice not worrying. That's what being and staying present is. That's what collective consciousness is. Breathe, release, and let go. Focus on results and the solution. Josh just pointed out, transmute your creativity. And once again, in this book right here, this book assists you to really understand what that means. So letting go is the key to higher consciousness. You cannot possibly access higher consciousness when most of your energy is devoted to what hasn't happened in the future or what did happen in the past. So there's there and there's there. And that's what most people do. They look over there and they look back there and they spend their time doing this and this. Future, past, future, past, future, past, exhaustion. And that's what many people do. Adrenal fatigue, high anxiety, panic attacks, alcoholism, drug addiction, pharmaceutical drug addiction, food addiction, chronic debting, pornography, a multitude of situations that leads to low self-esteem. And that low self-esteem leaves most of society in a place called grief and apathy. Grief is the end of the era. Apathy is rock bottom. And in that state, you are highly in a place where you can be programmed, where you can be controlled. Bad food becomes a way of life. Alcohol becomes a way of life. Medication becomes a way of life. Binge watching on TV, chronically avoiding, getting behind on bills, getting behind on debt, and a multitude of situations that affects most of the world. And if you find yourself in this situation today, the pain can be great enough. I mean, the challenge with changing that most of the world encounters is it's not so much that change is difficult, it's new. And if you have a high tolerance to being an emotional addict, avoiding, and you have a high tolerance, which means you have an emotional tolerance built up over a period of years to holding on to your emotions, you're going to recreate and attract your reality, the same situation, to fulfill the same set of feelings. When you move into change, when you move into higher consciousness, that's a commitment. That means in the prefrontal cortex, in discernment, you start to develop the ability to be and stay committed. Now, there are many people who can be committed if they're told what to do. Are you able to commit on your own device? Are you able to be and stay committed on your terms and your time frame? Or do you rebel against your own commitment? And that's what many people do. You rebel against structure? Do you rebel against doing the dishes, the laundry? Do you rebel against the simple task that allows you to be and stay organized? If the answer is yes, yes, and yes, then you're probably going to have pennies in your bank, zero in your bank account, and creditors are going to be calling, because that's what happens to so many people who live in an overwhelmed state. So elevating your consciousness comes from commitment, one day at a time. Can you be and stay committed? Even though it sounds simple, it's not that it's difficult, is that most people wing it. And they don't have a system, they don't have a routine, they don't have a method, and the structure of their life is very complicated. The objective is to be very simple, a very simple system that you can follow one day at a time without getting or being bored. But if you're addicted to shiny objects, that will be challenging. I spoke to a man in the last few days who wanted to build a direct sales business from his home. Well, the problem was he wasn't able to focus in his home. And he felt he had to do multiple situations, and he couldn't sit down at his desk and focus on the task at hand. He would get up and do this and do that and do this and do that. And so his ego believed he would do better in an office, which he eventually went and rented an office. But because he didn't have someone telling him what to do, he encountered the same situation. So living in that type of denial creates the same outcome. What is important is called acceptance. Acceptance is the key to higher consciousness. You cannot let go of what you're in denial of. It's not possible. When you accept that these are your character defects. I asked a man recently, I said, you have all these great assets over here. That's your asset list. Over here are your character defects. Can you list your character defects, be honest about them, accept that these are your character defects, and then one day at a time start to address them? When you start to put the character defects on a whiteboard, when you put them where you can see them, when you're comfortable being honest with them, when you're comfortable with it, you lie a lot, when you're comfortable that you over-obligate, when you become clear that you're an enabler and you start to be honest with yourself about this, when you become honest with yourself that you sneak debt, you binge watch, you lie about certain situations, you take little nips off the top of the bottle when you become honest with these situations. So when you are honest with yourself about that, that's raising your consciousness. Consciousness changes the energy that gets transmuted from you. So when you are in a low vibrational energy, anxious about picking up the telephone, anxious about calling lead, you're anxious about talking to someone, you're anxious about writing a post, a blog, a chapter in a book, you're anxious about the outcome that hasn't happened, then the message you're sending is mixed. It's like, please join me, but don't. I'm not comfortable with this process. Why don't I just avoid the rest of the day and I'll do it tomorrow? And that's unfortunately what happens to a lot of people with these two words. Good intentions. Good intentions do not build businesses. Effort consistent effort one day at a time over a long career is what creates the compounded effect. The simple discipline, the repetition, and the experience, and then silencing the inner critic. Being able to bring this inner critic down here and being clear on why you do what you do. When I coach my clients, several of my first hours are addressed in, I don't know. I don't know why I do this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. And when you do understand, it's a different level of responsibility. Most of the world would rather not understand, to stay irresponsible, than to be honest, to be responsible, because being responsible would be a contradiction and it would change the payoff. And if you don't understand what a payoff means, it means this. It means doing the same thing over and over, creating the same outcome, staying confused, not understanding why you do it, yet continuing to do it, get further in debt, further behind, continue to create the same situation, and staying in denial. And that's just one case of it, but it shows up in multiple facets. I don't know, I don't understand. And then when your communication style is filled with kindas, guess, and I don't know, and it's common for me to assist people, especially food addicts. Food addicts don't know why they're food addicts. And they don't grasp this. Food addicts and then people who are overwhelmed and unorganized are in the same categorization for me when I'm coaching clients, because it's one of the same situations. Overwhelmed, overweight, they tend to go hand in hand. And then the addiction is stuffing feelings. It's not the food. Food is just the byproduct of the emotions that are unresolved. And when you're hanging on, holding on, anxious about letting go, the vibration, the emotions, the energy that you're transmuting is going to be below courage. Courage is the access to the gateway to consciousness. Acceptance, courage, and then honesty is the trifecta of the breakthrough of the key to higher consciousness. But when you continue to blame others, you move from job to job, business to business, career to career, and it's always someone else's responsibility, not yours. When you take ownership of the situation, when you start setting money aside to pay your debt, when you start setting money aside to pay for your back taxes, when you own the fact that you fucked up on your quarterly payments, when you, instead of blaming your accountant, own the fact that you miscalculated the situation, be responsible for the situation, and overcome the situation. That when you can do that, the money changes, the energy changes, the mood changes, leads start to show up again. When you breathe, release, and let go. When you let go of your anger, or you let go of your passivity. When you let go of your apathy, or you let go of your rage. When you let go of your grief, and you let go of your resentment. So this is the scale. This is the top of anxiety, and this is the bottom. The top is anger, resentment, hate, rage, disappointment, frustration. The bottom of it is rejection, abandonment, apathy, grief, guilt, and shame. So that's the highest level of emotional anxiety. The lowest level of it is, once again, it's anxiety. The lowest level of anxiety is grief, apathy, and many addicts live in this. They live in this low level of despondency. They romance suicide. Nobody loves them. Nobody's following them. No one's giving them any recognition. Well, why would they give any recognition when your energy is in the tank like this? If you want recognized, recognize yourself. If you want some love, give yourself some love. It has to start with you. If you want some recognition, recognize yourself. If you want reward, produce some results. The ego craves attention because bad love is better than no love. So if I can't find a good relationship, then I'll go find a bad one because bad love isn't better than no love. If I'm not worthy, I'll go find a boss who will violate me and criticize me to fulfill the feelings I'm holding on to of not being good enough in a dysfunctional household. When you start to understand that there's a cause and effect to why you do what you do. When you find your inner passion and you let go of getting pissed off, and you find that underneath being pissed off, underneath that is passion. When you let go of how low your energy is and how scared you are, you will find that underneath there is your brilliance. But when you have to learn to let go of yeah, but. Yeah, but is the elixir that keeps you stuck. It keeps you recreating the same situation over and over. When you find that inner energy that you used to devote to anger, and you begin to let go of your anger, you can devote that into results. When you let go of rage and hate, you can turn that into the solution. When you let go of how much you've been traumatized, how life isn't fair, then you can turn that into love and joy. But you cannot do this in denial. When you are not good enough, you cannot experience love, you cannot experience joy, you cannot experience bliss. This is why most relationships that you will have will be dysfunctional until you begin to let go. That will require you to understand that you're codependent and an addict in the same energy. That will require you to understand that you're angry and you have narcissistic tendencies. That requires a lot of courage to even have that come out of your mouth, because you go, oh my God, I am really fucked up. Well, the shoe might fit there. And if the shoe fits, own it. And once you own it, that's honesty. That's rigorous honesty. And that's the honesty that will allow you to transcend. It might be painful for a few seconds, but that pain is repressed energy that affects the bladder, the prostate. It affects a whole urinary tract and a whole other situation of the flow. Prostate issues, bladder issues, all the other situations are byproduct and gut issues are a byproduct of not being able to release. It's the backed up, stored up, violated energy from growing up in violence, from growing up in households that aren't Christian. Breathe and release. From growing up in households where there's no love. And then you got all this juice and all this energy, but you don't have anywhere to take it. And then you go out and you're on fire and no one gives you any recognition. When you live in that energy, then you just keep recreating the same situation to just fulfill the same set of feelings. I'm on fire today, that's correct. Transmutation. Thank you all for being here today. I love every one of you. I feel every one of you. Breathe, release, and let go. Oh my God. I can't wait till Friday and Saturday. I'm going to be doing a 2-day event with my friend Josh Moran. Josh Waxman's going to be here. 2 young men I've coached for over 10 years, so it's going to be an exceptional experience for me. So thank all of you for being here. It's going to be an exceptional experience this weekend. If any one of you can make it to the Millionaire Blueprint this weekend, there's definitely openings. And I'd love to have you. It's in Stockton, California. I might have one next year in July. It's a possibility. But I do want to thank you for being here this afternoon. I became a little emotional because I am emotional. I'm facing the same situation every one of you are. If you take a look at the world, there's just a lot of challenges going on. Look at the Netherlands. 300 farms are being bought by the government. Oh my God. I grew up on 3,000 acres in Iowa. What's that mean to the food shortages? I mean, you look around, it's head swiveling. Breathe, release, and let go. But that's what you require. The perseverance, the intestinal fortitude, the guts. See this? I am sweating my ass off. Look at this. I'm drenched because that's how much fucking juice I feel in what's going on in the world today. I'm angry. I'm hangry, hungry and angry at the same time. That's what breathing, releasing, letting go is. And that's what being able to channel that energy in being positive and negative is overrated. It's learning how to channel that energy into creating results while living in the solution at the same time. Breathing and releasing and letting go. Not being concerned with what your family and society feels about you, especially when you know you're on the right path. And when you're on that right path, that's higher consciousness. And then you don't let other people take you off the path because you know you're good enough. You don't let the narcissists, the perpetrators, and the violators rent space from you because the pleasure isn't worth the pain. My name is Jeffery Combs. I'm the president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. It's so good to be here with you. Josh said you will not be denied. Cheryl Lynn, thank you very much. I appreciate your compliment. I appreciate you, John, your compliments. Brenda, good to see you this afternoon. Caroline, thank you. Thank every one of you. You've been my clients for years. I have deep, deep love and appreciation for you. You are my family. Michael Stroop, good to see you. It's so good to see all of you. Anyone who's on the call today and you would like to rehire me for next year's coaching or add on to next year's coaching, feel free to reach out to me. If you're new and you'd like a free 20-minute coaching session, feel free to reach out to me. I do have a December value, a unique marketing proposition for anyone who would like to add on to their existing coaching. Feel free to contact me. Have a great afternoon. I'll be back here tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a great afternoon.